Give me some of that barking, Dan!
Welcome to the Solid Verbal. And now, Dan and Ty.
Dan Rubenstein, I want you to hold up both hands, all your fingers, in front of the
There
camera.
you go.
Ken.
Happily married, ladies. I'm sorry.
10 fingers
10 fingers.
for most people. Week
For most
10
people.
is upon us, Dan Rubenstein. I cannot believe it. These games are taking place in the month of Tyvember, as we know it here on the show. The season is hurtling towards mass chaos this final month of the season. We will get into some of that here on this episode. We got into a little bit on the last episode when we talked through some of the coaching turmoil that is going on in and around the world of college football. But for today's show, Dan, because we pushed it off until today's episode, we're going to go through all the games. This is going to be a big old preview episode. We haven't done one of these since last year.
True.
I'm excited to be back here with you talking about a whole bunch of games, my friend. Welcome back.
We're starting with ECU Temple, Ty. I don't know if we have time for much else, but let's rock. Let's rock. How well can Temple defend Philly? I'm good, Ty. This is arguably the best week of the season, not necessarily because of the matchups themselves, just because of the amount of information, the amount of chaos that's already behind us on and off the field. And we just are in a rhythm, the two of us and the college football universe, more broadly speaking, that I just like to cherish when it is the doldrums of May 20th, that it is, April 11th, that it is February 26th. And I just want to appreciate where we are right now, right? The leaves have turned. It's brisk outside. We know who is and isn't something, who might have the opportunity to finish strong, right?
You're going to
Peter
make me cry.
Northification.
You're going to make me cry.
I understand. You stepped on my Peter North joke, Ty, and I'll never forgive you.
It's okay.
But I love this moment. I love this moment of the season because this is an inflection point, too, for a lot of these teams, right? To finish November impressively, even if you started out kind of down, or to keep riding high, or to just battle week after week to figure out who you are as the season draws to a close, because Ty, if nothing else, is going to know who you are come early December.
Yeah, you keep bringing that up. I still think that is a fair statement.
It's 100% accurate. You
It's
said
1,000% accurate.
2 seasons ago, during our preview, I think it was 2 seasons ago, that you felt confident that you would know more about like the SEC race by December. And I said, yeah, Ty, of course we all will. And you're like, no, you don't understand what I'm saying. We're going to know so much more by December. And I was like, Ty, listen to what you're saying. He was like, I am standing by it with no hesitation. We're going to know much more about this season come December.
Well,
and it
we
was
will.
the best.
We will.
You tripled down.
We absolutely will.
Yeah,
People
it's great.
still bring that up in the Discord for ballers.com, by the way, for those who want to support, get the ad-free episodes, bonus content, play in the games, vote in the polls, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I won't drone on more about that.
We had a comment that said something like, forget college football. They know their stuff there. I want to hear their takes on life.
I did see that out on YouTube, yeah.
And so, I mean, again, look us up, Patreon, Solid Verbal, verballers.com. It's the easiest way to get that Thursday bonus show that's sprinkled in with likely terrible life takes and advice, but there we are.
This Thursday, I want to ask you about the $20,000 humanoid robot that was just released, I believe, yesterday, that can help you with household chores. That'll be
I'm glad you said household chores and not something more adult, Ty.
No, it's household chores. We will get to that on the Thursday bonus episode.
There was the coach who mentioned that, right? Or was George Kittle talked about something in that neighborhood?
Great.
Do you remember what I'm talking about here?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
With one of the LaFleurs. I don't think it was a main LaFleur, but it was a LaFleur with some sort of recovery machine that had an added benefit of absolutely throttling things in the bedroom. Please, please, please. I'm not wrong. Google it.
Okay.
We'll
I'm not
reveal it by the end of the
right
episode.
now,
Yeah.
but we could talk about the household chores humanoid robot on the Thursday episode, okay?
Yes, absolutely.
With that preamble, there's really nowhere to go but up. We have a loaded show for you today. We're going to preview all the games. We're going to give you our picks. We're going to give you your window of opportunity if you got to go out and be amongst the people. your ideal quad, if that's something you want to build. We, of course, have the most important slate of games at the very end where we talk through all things Patriot League. But before we get there, Dan, mindful of the fact that there is nowhere to go but up after our intro, what is like the vibe for this Saturday? What are we feeling here?
I'm glad you asked, Ty, and it has nothing to do with George Kittle. Iowa legend, to be clear, and didn't have a quarterback in the way that he probably should have to completely shine.
I'm going to write this down. Iowa does not have a quarterback.
No, well, they didn't have a quarterback when George Kittle was there. Right now, it's your guy who just completed his first Big Ten touchdown pass nearing Halloween. Okay, I'm looking at the slate here, Ty. I'm looking at some flawed teams. I'm looking at some bigger numbers. So we have Utah minus 9.5, USC minus 6.5 on the road at a totally decent Nebraska team, Miami 12.5 on the road against a 2024 playoff team, Georgia a touchdown favorite against a hated rival on a neutral site, Ole Miss 12.5-point favorites, Ohio State 20.5-point favorites against, I guess, a one-time pseudo rival in Penn State.
That's a lot of potatoes, though. 20.5.
It's a lot of potatoes. Louisville 10.5 on the road at Virginia Tech. Tough place to play. Going through tough times, though, obviously. I'm just seeing a lot of these big numbers, especially on the road, and I'm thinking to myself, there's opportunities for these teams to prove that number correct. There are opportunities when you look at specific matchups, a great running offense against a bad run defense, a terrific ability to pressure the quarterback against a leaky offensive line. There is opportunity to absolutely rip apart a specific part of a team or an entire team if things work out. Continue, Ty.
Now, let me pause you for a second.
Please.
We got into this business of nicknaming the Saturday because ESPN would default to either Show Me Saturday or Separation Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Once you got to the midway point of the season, it was always one or the other if they were going to give a name for it.
Of course.
This is your opportunity now, based on what you've described.
By the way, I think our pal Chris Fowler threw in colon on one of the broadcasts.
Did he?
I think he did, like something colon get it done. I think there was something like that. Continue.
Our secret verbal today will be for our friends out at ESPN. Okay. I've got something in mind here. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But alas, what I'm saying here, if you should choose to go in that direction, we've never actually gone in the direction of Show Me Saturday, Separation Saturday. If you want to play the hits and if you want to go big time,
I hear you.
This is what's required of you. Is that going to be the direction we go with this nickname?
For Separation Saturday or Show Me Saturday? No.
Yeah.
Today is Scalpel Saturday.
I know I'm supposed to cut something, but what? And where?
Colon, rip them apart. Scalpel Saturday, colon, rip them apart. Right? There is that opportunity. If you are who Las Vegas seems to imply you are, and when you look at these specific matchups, there are those opportunities. The advantageous matchups to colon rip them apart. Also, don't rip apart your colon.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good. Wow.
No. So there we are. Scalpel Saturday.
I like it. Play that sound one more time. I like that.
Of course.
Is that from The Simpsons?
I'm supposed to cut something, but what? And where?
Yes, Dr. Nick, of course.
Dr. Nick. Dan, let's dive in. Week 10 is here.
Dan, time, help. I need picks of the week.
Yeah. Let me give you a little bit of an intro here, okay?
We'll know a lot more about Week 10 by Sunday, by the way. We'll know a ton more about these matchups by Sunday.
You know what? I actually hate you right now.
I know. That's our dynamic.
I hate you.
Yeah.
I have something to say.
Okay.
We did a bonus episode 2 weeks ago, yeah?
Yes, that sounds right.
I discussed on that episode that I was going to put together a betting model in hopes of actually picking some games right. Do you remember that?
I do.
I have the bones of a working model in place. I don't have a good way to show it to you or to anybody yet, but I'm working on that. Okay. Because I gave myself a 2-week window to complete this damn thing.
Yeah.
I cannot show it to you yet. It is in the works. I'm putting a pretty face on it. I am going to use the data, though, for my picks today. All right. So over the course of all of the games that we're going to go through, I'm going to be referring to something that I have just haphazardly named the RPS, which stands for the real point spread. If you've got some branding you'd like to add to Ty's point spread, that's all on you, Dan. Okay.
Sure.
That is what you're good at. You have the remainder of this show to come up with something. but my model is going to account for injuries, travel, letdowns, and look-aheads, home field advantage, and like 5 or 6 other factors here. So I tinkered around last week. I think I'm ready to roll it out today. There are a couple that do not feel right to me, so I will go in a different direction and basically, we'll proof test to see whether or not I'm right or the data's right, or maybe it's a push and we're both wrong. But alas, the other thing I am saying, I'm done giving locks for the year.
Whoa.
I'm done.
Okay.
I have been so historically wrong. It is clear at this point that I have the power just by issuing a lock to jinx a team,
I think I'm going to quadruple down on locks now. I think that's what I'm going to do. Because I don't give
yours
out
have
locks
been fine.
every week.
Mine are horrible.
All right.
Mine are
continue.
horrible. What I consider doing, and people can let me know if this is something that would be of interest, but given that I have this occult power now to jinx a team, I would be willing to read through applications from verballers out there who have an opponent that they would like to jinx. And if your application is accepted, I would then require proof of some sort of donation to Locks of Love, which is a charity hair prosthetics for disadvantaged kids.
Yeah.
If you can give me an application that is funny, that I can read on air, and if you can prove that you make a donation, I will let you know in advance, and we can jinx whoever you want. But that is how we're going to use my locks from this point forward. I need to retire them in any kind of serious capacity because it's just been bad.
You are a cooler.
Dan, I am like Mr. Freeze is what I am right now.
That's true. I'm talking about like a casino cooler that ambles his or her way over to a table when the table's hot because they have such bad vibes that they shut everything down.
Yeah, I know. I'm talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger in one of the Batman movies.
Of course. A terrible Batman. Continue.
High noon ABC. It is number 9 Vandy. It is number 20 Texas. Texas is a 1.5-point favorite. Arch Manning in concussion protocol.
Yes.
So if you watched the Texas game a week ago, took a shot at the end or towards the end, back of the head. Head kind of bounced off the ground, walked to the sidelines. He was a little bit woozy. A little bit woozy. So right now we're recording this Wednesday around midday. Teams in the SEC give their initial eligibility/injury reports later in the day on Wednesday. So by the time people hear this, Dan, there's a pretty good chance everyone's going to have a much better idea of whether or not Arch is going to play in this one.
Yeah, but I mean, even still, we'll see what he is on the injury report, but if he's probable, he still may not play, right? It's still a game time situation.
Still a game time decision. So
yeah.
I don't know, does that factor in at all to your pick here? Tight point spread, Vegas expecting this to be close for whatever that's worth to you. Where are we at? How you feel?
Well, weirdly, we don't have data on Texas playing a big game at home because this, I believe, is this their first SEC home game?
Man, it's been a tough schedule for Texas this year.
Yeah.
Especially on the road. Yeah.
This is their first SEC home game, or I guess power conference game. They played the game against Ohio State, and the neutral site against Oklahoma obviously takes away a home or road game. But it is kind of strange. And now we have the uncertainty around Arch Manning's health, and pretty much everything about the Texas offense is disappointing. I would say maybe beyond a couple of different players in the open field. Like Ryan Wingo with the ball with some space, as we saw last week, can be electric.
He can't be. And the other thing that I would add, and your point's valid, everybody who's watched Texas knows that the offense has been a bit of a disappointment.
Yeah. Like good Arch throws are incredible.
Good Arch, the best of Arch is good.
Yes.
And I think the offense has improved a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I think last week Arch looked better. I think the offense looked better as a whole last week. That's not to say it's fixed. They definitely still have issues, but in the interest of fairness, I do think there was a little bit of growth that we saw last week. Anyway, continue.
Yeah. No, I guess maybe it's appropriate for the state of Texas. Like 95% of flour tortillas are terrible, but the upper 5% will blow your mind. They're the best in the world.
Sure.
So I think I'm in on Vandy here. And I'm in on Vandy because, of your general Ashanti rulings that, there's something about trust. And Vandy hasn't proven a ton on the road. Obviously, they were competitive against Bama, who opened up things late on the road. But there is something about a team that is able to possess the ball like they've been able to do, because I don't think anybody's going to be able to do anything electric against this Texas defense, which has been excellent despite the position they've been put in this season by their own offense. The Texas defense on third down against Vandy on third down, to me, feels like this entire game. because Vandy's been outstanding with the ball in keeping drives going and keeping the opposing defense on the field. And Texas has, the best of what Texas does is when they feel confident rushing the passer, and they're beat up a little bit on defense, but even still, that's this game. If you're talking strength versus strength, it's 3rd and 4 when Vandy has the ball. What happens? And there's a lot to still dislike about Texas, even if they're great on 3rd and 4. Questions about red zone stuff, questions about all sorts of situational things with Texas, how they use whoever's playing quarterback, what Matthew Caldwell looks like, running this system, if he is indeed the guy. I just think there's something dependable about Vanderbilt being able to win this game in a couple different ways. They were competitive last year against Quinn Ewers, but couldn't pull it out at home. That was a different Texas offense. So I'm going Vandy here to win this game in a boring way outright. Something, 17-16, 20-15. I don't think either one of these teams is scoring more than 23, 24 points. I just like the opportunity here for Vandy. Even with the, 2 consecutive big attention games in LSU and Mizzou with game day last week, there is something about the age and the composure of Vanderbilt that I like in this spot, where week to week we're talking about a Texas team that when they win, it's generally not a complete performance. When they lose, you're left wanting so much. So I'm going with the dependability factor in Vandy.
If it is Matthew Caldwell in this game,
yeah.
By the way, this is where my crazy theory from Tuesday comes into play.
This is Bill Simmons' Ewing theory?
No, it's not Ewing theory.
Okay.
It's not Ewing theory. The theory is that Matthew Caldwell might actually be better than Arch.
Okay.
I want people to keep an open mind.
Yeah.
Now, we've seen Matthew Caldwell throw 11 passes this year.
Right.
A little bit of a limited sample size, but I don't know. He's looked very, very good, obviously, through the game-winning touchdown a week ago and very limited action. If it is him, I just want people to keep an open mind. I'm not affirming anything at this point.
Right.
I'm just saying, keep an open mind. I agree with you. I think it's going to be a full-on rock fight. I don't think we see a lot of offense. I think it's 2 good defenses having at it. The RPS, the real point spread here, is Texas -7 per my model. And that's mostly on the strength of their defense. I think they're good enough to take away the legs of Diego Pavia. And if
I agree, totally agree.
If they force him to be more of a thrower in order to win, I think that changes the calculus a little bit on the Vandy side, at least on offense. He can throw it, to be clear. I think he's completed something like 70% of his passes or close to 70% of his passes this year. So
yeah,
we have seen real growth from Diego Pavia as a passer this year. That part is undeniable. But I still think that their passing game works better as a complement to the run. And if you make them one-dimensional, it's not nearly as efficient a system. So I've got this one at 20-13 Texas.
Okay.
I'm going with the horns. The model is going with the horns. I'm taking my subjectivity out of this thing, and we're sticking with the RPS, Dan.
The RPS.
Yeah.
Okay. So we disagree.
We disagree. Let's go to 3:30 on Fox. We're going to jump around a little bit here. This is number 13, Texas Tech. This is unranked Kansas State.
Yes.
This game's being played in Manhattan, Kansas. Texas Tech is a 7.5 point road favorite, Dan. That's a lot of points against a team like Kansas State that seems like it's getting better. That's a lot of points with the Texas Tech squad that kind of nicked up right now, especially at quarterback. Apparently, Baron Morton ready to go after the ACL injury to Will Hammond. But this is a big one for Texas Tech, even if it isn't a matchup between 2 quote-unquote ranked teams.
Yeah, and Kansas State should be playing with more confidence than they were even just a few weeks ago after dismantling, talking about Surgical Saturday, what they did to Kansas, especially on defense, getting after the Kansas offense. So that's something I'm considering here. The problem is, if you're a believer in Texas Tech, not necessarily as a finished product, but as a drastically improved product, especially on defense, then this shouldn't be a huge question. There's a reason why they're favored in a spot like this by the number of points that they are. It's that they can win in a number of different ways. They can force turnovers. They can rush the passer. They can run the ball. I'm not a huge believer in Baron Morton as a high-level college football quarterback, but the best of Baron Morton is definitely a good Big 12 quarterback. It's just the consistency and dependability and availability. So I'm going with Texas Tech here. because I think to beat Texas Tech this year, somewhere near full strength, you yourself have to be pretty complete. Now, I don't know if I trust and fully love the schedule that they've played this year in terms of what they've proven, but they beat a Houston team that's won a bunch of games. Obviously, they won that game big late against Utah. It was competitive for a long time in that matchup, and they had to deal with their own injury issue going to Will Hammond in that game. But if I'm going to sit here and say I believe that Texas Tech is a very good team, then I'm going to say you can beat them, but you got to also have a lot that I can love about you. And at this point with Kansas State, I don't love that they haven't been running the ball or running the ball well. I don't love the inconsistency of defense. I don't love the mistakes on offense still. That if they were really good last week, what does that mean they're going to be this week? Isn't that the way you should be looking at Kansas State right now? That this is the other shoe week for Kansas State, that you can't trust them week to week. So you can be a believer that Kansas State's issues have been dealt with and that this is who they are. They are the best of themselves consistently now. I'm not there. I'm not there against a team like Texas Tech. So I'm going Red Raiders here on the road to cover and win this game 34-20.
K-State is 4-4. It has absolutely been a disappointing season, but they are 3-2, still in a wide open conference.
Yeah.
This is by far their biggest home game left on the schedule. Like, it's not even close. And something that kept bouncing around in my head.
To be fair, they did win 2 in a row. TCU and Kansas, so they are stringing something together.
I think we could argue that they're peaking as we enter November.
Okay.
And I think there's also a pretty strong case to be made that this is a de facto national championship situation. Now, what does that mean for people who aren't familiar? Way back when we were all younger and full of life and had no wives or kids or grays in the temple.
That's true.
I posted something on our website, which I think is still out there. I don't know if I took it down. But at the time, it was my 7 rules of college football betting. Don't go and read it now. It has no credibility. But
okay, fair.
The de facto national championship is something that I talked about then, that I talk about every year. It is exactly what it sounds like. It's when one team has a regular season game that, for whatever reason, because it's a big home spot, because it's the last big game on the schedule, because it's a matchup against, a rival or a hated opponent.
Yeah.
When you treat that game like a national championship game. And I think this could be that for Kansas State. I have been watching the K-State offense for a few weeks running now. It was dreadful the first 4 games of the year.
Yep.
And they were off in week 4. And since then, it has progressively gotten better.
Agree.
The defense has shown modest improvements as well. So I hear you on K-State, and there has definitely been an issue with inconsistency. But I do think that they are getting better, and they have arrived at this point now, start of November, where they're more of a force to be reckoned with. More along the lines of what we expected at the start of the year. Still not fully there, but still not where they've been the first 4 weeks of the year. So Tech is supposedly going to be getting Baron Morton back. And I think that comes just in the nick of time, obviously, because they had an injury to Will Hammond. But unlike the Texas game, I don't see this as a rock fight. I think we're going to see a lot of points here. So the matchup that I am most interested in watching is Avery Johnson against a very active linebacker core for Texas Tech. Like Sheil Wood, the DC for Tech, he almost treats his defensive line as like a conduit to free up his linebackers, to give them freedom to go out there and make plays. That's what he does. Right now, the linebacking core has the highest havoc rate of any linebacking core in the country.
Yeah, because technically David Bailey is edge outside linebacker.
Right. They
yeah,
kind of
he's been incredible. Yeah.
He's been great. He's been a great pickup in the portal from Stanford.
Yeah.
I think a really good dual threat quarterback, or I should say the best of a seemingly good dual threat quarterback in Avery Johnson, is somebody who can put those guys in really difficult situations. And so I just think we're going to see a little bit of a chess match there. I don't fully know how it's going to go down, but I'm curious. To me, that is the matchup. I do think Texas Tech will win this football game. We agree on that front. I think their defensive prowess so far this year has been one of the better stories in college football. I mean, they've jumped like 90 spots up. So they've been really good on that front. Sheil Wood has done a bang-up job. Their transfer portal guys have hit. Their success rates are through the roof. I mean, they've done a really good job there.
Yeah.
I trust them more to get 1 or 2 key stops to give them the separation they need. But the RPS here is 3.5 in favor of Texas Tech. So I'm going Kansas State home dog of the week.
The Yakos home dog of the week.
By the way, something of note to support what you're saying is, one, you mentioned the last 4 games since that first bye. They're basically a weird ending against Baylor away from winning 4 straight.
Yep.
So maybe I'm going to backpedal a little bit on my week-to-week trust here because they have been very good since that bye in terms of taking care of business. The other thing is Avery Johnson hasn't made a ton of mistakes through the air in terms of interceptions.
No.
He's had a clean year. He's had, I think, 1 pick in Big 12 play.
Yep. He's been very good. He's been really good.
That's a surprising number to me.
He needs a little bit more of a supporting cast right now, and
Yeah.
I don't think he's fully gotten that, especially on the ground. But
Jace Brown stepped forward last week,
Yep.
obviously.
They're big
But
play
what do you do
receiver.
if you... Yeah. I'm still in on Texas Tech. I'm still in because of the defense. I think it's going to travel. But I don't hate the pick. I don't hate them looking at them as a home dog.
31-27, Texas Tech wins on the road, but K-State covers.
Okay. We disagree.
7:30 on ABC. It is number 18 Oklahoma on the road at number 14 Tennessee. The Vols are a 3-point favorite. I brought up the question about Oklahoma on the last show, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll bring it up again now. Oklahoma, if you look at their body of work, has played one. Count them. One trustworthy offense, and they gave up 34 points and 431 yards a week ago.
Yes.
I think Oklahoma is much better than a year ago. I don't think there's any question about that. But I also do feel like there's a bit of fool's gold here.
Okay.
And that might be due to the offense, probably more the offense than the defense. On last week's episode, we got a nice comment that I think rightfully questioned my logic and said, well, let's see what happened. Let's see what happens against Ole Miss, because the Ole Miss defense is very gettable. Well, what they got was 26 points, right?
Yeah.
14 of which came on long, kind of broken play touchdowns. So,
By the way, get those. Those are great to have.
hey, you'll take them, right?
Yeah.
I'm not complaining. More teams want explosive plays for sure.
Yeah.
But this is just my kind of longer way of saying that I am still not fully trusting of the Oklahoma offense. I like John Mateer.
I'm with you.
Running the ball has been a struggle off and on throughout the course of the season. Defensively, they're fine. Defensively, they're very good. But offensively, when they need some more pop, I'm just not sure it's fully there to get it. And a game like this against Tennessee is one that I think is going to feature a lot of points, Dan.
Okay.
So if you're an Oklahoma fan, you need points. You're going to need to score, 30 points? Thereabouts to beat Tennessee, and that's not something we've seen Oklahoma do yet this year.
I think that's somewhat right. Oklahoma's defense is still good, even though you, I think, rightfully have pointed out the trustworthy, good offenses that they face. I think they still have good players. They've performed really well against, even if the offenses are not super trustworthy. They've performed like a good defense should. Are they a top 5 defense in the country? Maybe not, but I don't see how you could look at this Oklahoma defense and not consider them to be quality.
They're very quality. I'm not saying
okay.
they're not quality.
So
but I'm just looking at the body of work.
yeah.
And I'm saying, all right, well, they finally played an offense that we know is good in Ole Miss, and they gave up 34 points. They gave up a bunch of yards. It's not everything. It was a back-and-forth game. Oklahoma could have won that game. They were certainly in it. So this is not said to demean Oklahoma, but it does kind of support what I was saying a week ago, which is everybody's high in Oklahoma. We like Oklahoma. We like what they did in the offseason. This team is clearly better. But as for a team that was being talked up as maybe an SEC or a playoff contender a month ago, I don't see it. They're not that good.
So here's the interesting thing to me. And I know Oklahoma fans have, we'll put it kindly, mixed views on Ben Arbuckle and the job he's done steering into what Oklahoma can and can't do well, roster-wise, whatever, with this offense. And it's still a rebuilding offensive machine for Oklahoma. If you can find a little bit of grass against Tennessee, you can grab a lot of grass. This is not a good tackling team. This is a team that will offer you a flimsy arm to run through if you get through that first level. guys coming up in run support, guys trying to make tackles in the open field, especially given the injuries and perhaps the dip in talent level after last season in the back end of the Tennessee defense. And now they might be without, I think Colton Hood got hurt last week, and he's been very good. I want to say Colorado transfer for Tennessee. We still don't know the status of Jermod McCoy, who I don't even know if he's going to play this season. We'll see. And he was considered to be like the lockdown star power of this defense heading out of last season before he got hurt.
He's probably a first-round draft pick, yeah.
Right. And hasn't seen the field, obviously, this season. So Tennessee needs to score those points is what I'm saying. They've needed those defensive touchdowns, right? The scoops and scores, and I think they had a batted down pass that was caught and brought back against Kentucky last week. They've needed those not to score a lot of points, but they've needed those to get the defense off the field, right? They need like the all or nothing element of this defense to be successful, turnovers, namely. I love the Tennessee offense. I love how Joey Aguilar has stepped in. I love these two running backs. I love the fearlessness with which they still play, even with the changes that they've had on offense. I like Tennessee a bunch here. The only thing I really don't love about it is there's some sort of theme like blackout situation, I want to say,
I hate that.
in this game. Yeah. That scares me a little bit. But what's the number right now as of time of recording?
3 in favor of Tennessee.
I like that number. I like that. I think 30-20 is something in there. I like Tennessee here.
If I told you that this game was going to be a shootout, who would you trust more?
Oh, I would trust Tennessee more. I would also trust Tennessee more because I want to say Oklahoma has played exactly one road game in like true road game against a power conference team, or I think anybody this year, right?
Yeah.
I think it's just the South Carolina game and then the neutral site game against Texas. So in terms of like how battle tested they are after the Ole Miss game, I think Tennessee's in a better spot here at home. So, yeah.
I agree completely. And to bring this full circle in talking about whether or not Oklahoma is playing trustworthy defenses, whether that matters to you or not, I don't know. But statistically, the Tennessee offense is better than Ole Miss's. And I think there's always a capability with the Josh Heupel offense that they're going to score a bunch of points. So, real point spread has Tennessee by 6. I'm going to say it's something like 33-27. I'm with you on the Vols. I think the Vols win outright.
And Tennessee has not had a perfect season.
No.
But I think the lapses have come against, well, look, it's the road game against Alabama, which sort of blew up in that middle 8. And then I'm not going to say they were fortunate to beat Mississippi State, but they did need those defensive touchdowns to send that game to overtime and win. So I think this is a nice spot for Tennessee to build on what they've been doing lately. So yeah, I'm going Vols by nearly or right around 10.
Yeah, and by the way, Mississippi State's a pretty good team this year. There's not a whole lot of shame in that if you're going to OT against Mississippi State.
Well, it's not a matter of shame or not. Tennessee is more advanced in terms of roster construction and rhythm to the point where like they likely should win that kind of game in regulation. It's a tough place to play, tough team.
I know. But you could say that about a lot of teams.
Totally.
All we know is this. Mississippi State is not nearly as bad as the odds makers thought preseason when they had a 3.5 over-under. They're much better than that.
I would go as far as saying that Mississippi State is the clear best winless in-conference team in America.
Probably, yeah.
I don't even have a doubt about it.
7:30 on NBC. Speaking of de facto national championships, here we go.
Please.
Number 23 USC is a 6.5 point road favorite on the road at night against Nebraska, Dan.
Yeah.
I know the Heroes game, that rivalry is a big deal against Iowa to close out the year.
Totally.
I got to believe that hosting USC at night Halloween weekend is going to have the juices flowing too, if not a little bit more.
Of course.
Nebraska's sort of played the last 2 weeks like they were look-ahead spots to this game.
Yeah.
It has not been a good go here the last couple weeks for the Cornhuskers, Dan. Trojans still have the number 1 SP Plus offense. They did get bullied against Notre Dame a couple weeks back. Maybe we could talk about that.
Yeah.
Whether or not that pertains to this game. But I think it's fair to say this offense for USC is like several orders of magnitude better than pretty much anything Nebraska's seen so far this year.
Well, they played Cincinnati, which has been really good offensively. That was week 1.
Cincinnati.
That was week 1. Yeah.
Week 1. So if I'm USC here, I'm looking at this Nebraska defense. I run right at them.
Agree.
I think I run directly at them. And I think if USC is able to establish a run game, I think they win. You know, we talk about matchups all the time. I think it's very, very straightforward. If they can run the ball, they're going to win this game. Because Nebraska's going to have to push some of its safeties up. They're going to have to commit a little bit more that they would otherwise use in pass coverage just trying to stop the run. And if you do that, boom, that's when the pass opens up. I don't think they've got the secondary that can take either Mekhi Lemon or Jacoby Lane out of the game the way that Notre Dame did.
Right.
And so there's going to be this, again, chess match. Where do we bring those safeties? To what end do we get them involved in the ground game? Is USC even going to go in that direction? I know that's been one of the points of criticism of the Lincoln Riley offense. They should have just ran the ball more like last year, right? They didn't.
Sure.
So whether or not they try to execute that game plan remains to be seen. But as I see it, that's what I would do. Just run right at them and see if they can stop it.
Well, they are, to be fair, to USC. USC is down, or at least has been down lately. They're starting left tackle and starting center, and they're 2 starting running backs, essentially.
Yes.
They're not starters, but they're top 2 running backs. They were down to King Miller against Michigan, who stomped them.
Yep.
And then didn't do anything of consequence at Notre Dame. Also working against USC is the tides of time in history. Lincoln Riley is 3-12 against the spread as a road favorite. 2 of those 3 were USC road trips that went all the way to Pasadena, California against UCLA, and they also beat Stanford and covered. So they're 0-12 besides those 3. Under Lincoln Riley as a road favorite. They're favored by, 6.5, 7 points here?
6.5, yeah.
This is not a body clock game. This is at night. They have time. They have a very specific weakness in Nebraska, and that's their front on both sides of the ball, which is not great.
Yes.
They haven't been protecting Dylan Raiola well. To a lot, that might be even an understatement. And then they allow a ton on the ground, which you alluded to, highlighted by the big runs from Michigan a few weeks ago. There's every reason in the world to pick USC here. They have the more productive quarterback. They have, I think, a better offensive mind. I know a better offensive mind running things. They have better offensive skill talent, especially when the running backs are healthy. But even so, they have the best receiver in this game. They have the better tight end in this game. I'm going USC, and I hate myself for it. And it makes me sound like I'm sort of, sitting on the fence here, that I'm giving you every reason to pick against USC on the road. But I just can't get on board with this version of Nebraska. Like, USC rushes the passer pretty well. Nebraska does not. Nebraska's back end on defense is actually pretty impressive. Yeah. So that's where I think the matchup, becomes extremely intriguing. Guys like Mekhi Lemon being covered by good corners, running into a good secondary. I just don't think that's a recipe right now for winning big games. Not huge, but a big game for Nebraska. And so if you are the second best offensive line and the second best defensive line in a game with some magnitude, I can't get on board. So I'm going to give the points. I think USC wins this game by 8 points. I don't know, call it 28-20, something like that. I'm going SC here to cover, and absolutely hate myself for doing it. Absolutely cannot stand that I'm taking this stand, but I can't get on board with siding with this Nebraska team against a talented SC.
Yeah, the quote-unquote real point spread was USC minus 5.5.
Yeah.
So if anything, that's begging me to take Nebraska at home at night. But I think I'm with you. Like, I get what you're saying about it being a good secondary, and I agree. This is a good secondary.
The moment they say, what do they say? They say the moment the pizza hits the box, it gets worse 40%, right? It steams, it gets a little bit soggy, and it's just not the same experience. The moment this USC team checks in at LAX, they get 40% worse.
I guess, but they are good at rushing the passer, and that has been a problem, a real problem.
Jakeem Stewart is a star in the making.
Nebraska is not showing a whole lot of improvement along their line. USC is 6th in the country in pressure rate. They're going to do everything they can to speed up Dylan Raiola as much as possible, and I think that's going to have an impact here.
I hate this pick so much.
I'm going against my model too. I will join you in solidarity.
Oh, now this is even worse.
It's even worse.
Thanks for nothing, Ty.
You can still switch your pick. It's a free country. I've got this at 31-24 USC. And I've got them up late and then maybe like almost a backdoor cover of a touchdown to get it to 31-24. I just think their offense is going to come in like a freight train, and I'm not sure Nebraska can handle it.
Okay. We agree, and that scares me.
10:15 Eastern time. If we weren't doing a late stream, Dan, there is a 0% chance we'd stay up for this one.
Yeah.
It's on ESPN. It's number 17, Cincinnati. It's number 24, the Utah Utes. Bit of a body clock situation, yeah, for Cincinnati.
So 10:15 p.m. body time for the Bearcats playing in Salt Lake City at altitude against the Utes.
The Utes are favored by 9.5 points, Dan.
That's so many points.
It's a lot of points.
And that's points without Devin Dampier's status being known, who didn't play last week, and it didn't matter when they absolutely, I mean, that was surgical, Ty.
I know I'm supposed to cut something, but what? And where?
Yeah, Utah just decided to cut Colorado anywhere they saw some flesh. I think I like Utah here. I think what Cincinnati has done this year has been super impressive, and I think they are a legit team. I am just of the mind that throwing into this defense, running into this defense is going to be different. It's just going to be different. And while Cincinnati's defense in various aspects can be fine to good, there are too many questions for me. And I think we have a crock-potting on our hands. Nothing like what we saw last week, because, again, I think Cincinnati's legit. I just think it's going to be something like 35-24. Does that cover it for them?
Yeah, well, it should.
That's probably too many points. Probably 28-17. Something in there, 30-19. I just see that as being an unfortunate spot for the Bearcats, who, even if they lose this game comfortably, I'm still going to be a believer in them as a legit team.
The RPS here is Utah -12.
Wow. Okay.
This is not a particularly explosive Utah offense. It feels a lot like the ghosts of Utah past, doesn't it? Where they want to beat your brains in on the ground. They run it about 63% of the time on first down, second down, third and short. Cincy is going to get a heavy dose of the ground game.
Number 3 on third down nationally in overall third down success rate, 54%.
I'm just not convinced that Cincy can stop this ground attack. And the Utah offensive line's a beast. I mean, we talked about that in the preseason, right? That was always going to be the catalyst for this. And frankly, that's just the way Kyle Whittingham likes it. But the way we have seen this ground assault grow up around Wayshawn Parker and Aquari Rogers, Devin Dampier when he's in there, that's been really impressive. And I think, provided they have all three of those guys, we're going to see more of the same. What's interesting is that Cincy kind of runs a very similar offense. It's obviously not the same, but they use Brendan Sorsby a lot as a runner. When he does throw it, by the way, he's got a 20-1 touchdown to interception ratio. So he's been very good across the board. I just don't think they are as good as Utah at running this style of offense. And I agree with you that going up against the Utes, it's just different. It's just different. I think they're going to have trouble moving it against this Utah defense. And it is a Utah defense that, counterpoint, I guess, has been gettable against the run, but very, very good against the pass. They've been a brick wall in pass defense. So I think there's a possibility here that we see a trading of blows early, but I tend to trust Utah more over 60 minutes at home at night with, frankly, a coaching staff that I can trust more.
Sure.
Led by Kyle Whittingham. 30-18 is my final in favor.
All right, so we're right around same area. Okay.
30-18. We agree.
We agree.
Let's do some rapid fire previews, okay? I just want first blush here. I got a bunch of games we could talk till we're blue in the face. We could talk for 2 hours. I don't want to talk for 2 hours, all right?
Yep.
High noon ESPN, number 10 Miami, a 12-point road favorite against SMU, Dan. It's a lot of potatoes again. 12 points on the road. Yep. Surgical. What do we got?
I like Miami here. Hate that I like Miami here. I think SMU has been relatively flat this year, coming off of a weird travel loss to Wake Forest. Not weird. Wake Forest is good. I just don't think SMU is all that good. I don't think they have the defense. I think this is a slow, like 13-10 or something at halftime, and it opens up in the second half for Miami.
I think SMU is good enough to use the Louisville template and force Carson Beck to beat them through the air.
I don't think SMU is that good.
I do not think they're good enough.
Yeah.
To win using the Louisville template.
But cover?
But I've got this one at 30-24 Miami.
It's a sizable road trip playing at noon, so, it's a little okay. It's something.
3:30 ABC. It is number 5 Georgia, a 7-point favorite. Neutral site game, obviously, against the Florida Gators.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to call it the cocktail party anymore per the city of Jacksonville, Florida.
Right.
But they have no jurisdiction here, Dan. This is the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. Dan, just for reference, what do we do in a big rivalry like this?
You got to throw those records out.
Throw the records right on out. This is going to be Billy Napier's, I should say, the first game without Billy Napier.
Yeah, this is his first game that he gets to watch on TV.
First game that he gets to watch on TV.
Yeah.
I do not think Florida is going to win, but I am genuinely curious to see what the offense looks like now that they've got Ryan O'Hara calling
By the way,
plays. He's a quarterback coach.
Sidebar. Do you think Billy Napier is just going to sit with his family and watch this game? Do you think he's just going to go out and completely avoid it? What do you think the move is for any of these guys? For James Franklin, for Billy Napier, for Brent Pry, for Jay Norvell? Take your pick. Do you think they're well, I guess we're going to watch the old team now? What do you think they're doing?
I think they have a keen interest in what I'm going to say later in this episode when I give you the window of opportunity.
All right. Fair enough.
Pretty big window of opportunity if you're Billy Napier, yeah.
I think these guys probably watch. I think they probably watch. They were so invested, and it'll be more about the players with whom they have relationships than the administration that they're wishing the best for them. Except for Brian Kelly. I don't think
Except for Brian Kelly.
Yeah. Brian Kelly's on with his life.
I think it's a tall order against Georgia.
Yeah.
Especially now with new people running the show. Whether or not we see improvement on offense will be interesting to see. But I've got Georgia 34-21 in this game.
Okay. That's a lot of points against this Florida defense to be I don't think Florida's issue is with having bad players.
It isn't.
So we're talking about a Florida team that perhaps is going to employ some new ideas on offense, find new creative ways. We'll have a new play caller, as you mentioned, for the first time ever under Billy Napier, or in the Billy Napier era. I think I'm going to throw those records out and say Florida covers this game. I'm not saying they're winning.
Covering a 7-point spread would make for a very, very interesting discussion on Saturday night between you and I.
So this game is either going to be a 3-point game or a 33-point game.
One or the
Let's
other.
also be clear. Florida's on a winning streak. Florida won their previous game and then fired their coach. So it's not like things got so bad that we just lost by 40 to Mississippi State. Of course we're getting rid of Billy Napier. They won that game. It wasn't pretty. They didn't win by a lot of points. They did win. Winning is a skill on this show. So I think there is something about the Florida defense. Georgia has won games against good defenses and lost a game against a good defense. I really like the evolution and path that Gunnar Stockton has taken this season. But I also think there's going to be juice in this game for Florida. Every report is that Florida players loved Billy Napier. They loved playing for him. They loved fighting for him, everything like that. So there's not the element of, thank God he's gone in the locker room. But
maybe a little bit of win one for the Gipper type thing?
Not that, but just that there's energy, there's juice. They're coming off a bye. If you go to Florida, you always want to, rip apart Georgia.
Sure.
So I think with talented players on both sides of the ball, I think they can make this a game. So I have Georgia winning this game 24-21 and Florida covering.
7 p.m. ESPN. It is South Carolina on the road at number 7, Ole Miss. Ole Miss a 12.5-point favorite.
Yeah.
Talk about a lot of potatoes. We got a possible double letdown situation going on here.
This is true.
We had South Carolina almost beat Alabama a week ago. And we had Ole Miss go on the road get a big win against Oklahoma. So it would not surprise me if we look at the score ticker and halfway through the game, you and I are slacking back and forth. Hey, did you see that it's 7-6 in favor of somebody?
Right.
I think we might get a little bit of a hangover effect for one, maybe both of these teams. I still think Ole Miss is better. I still think Ole Miss is going to win this one going away. I still think they're going to put up more than 30 points, but I don't think they're going to cover 12.5. I've got it at like 35-24, something like that, where South Carolina hangs around just enough to cover the point spread, but not win outright.
I think they lose by a lot of points. South
Okay.
Carolina. I have like 35-13, 38-13.
Okay.
I just think away from home, and you watch the end of that Alabama game for South Carolina.
I did.
It is essentially the worst way you can lose a game.
It's the worst.
It is essentially the how quickly it happened, the manner in which they fumbled and gave up a touchdown when, yes, the season's been going terribly. It's a horrible disappointment, but here we are in position to beat Bama.
Yep.
And at least have that silver lining to things. At least have that twinkle in your eye when you think about the 2025 college football season that went horribly sideways. But hey, man, we beat Bama. And they didn't beat Bama.
It did not beat Bama, no.
And now they're going to play Ole Miss, who I don't think is in a letdown spot. By the way, the sidebar here is Lane Kiffin and his comments about Brent Venables saying he thought Oklahoma had the better team, which weren't all that offensive a commentary, right? You're going to say that to like keep your guys motivated and energized, whatever. But then Lane Kiffin went into the history books of his matchups against Brent Venables' defenses. Did you see this?
I did see.
He was like, did they have the better team when we beat them at USC 55-19 in the national championship? Yes? No? No? Okay. Just making sure. What about when we dropped 45 on them in the national champ? No? They weren't the better? Okay. I'm kind of an extreme Lane Kiffin convert, just as a human being.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there is a lot of Steve Spurrier in Lane Kiffin. I understand why Florida would want him.
But, like, he says it in such a monotone, level way.
Yeah.
Where I'm just like, man, this is just in his DNA.
Yeah.
And I just love it. So I like Ole Miss big here. I think they're going to run all over South Carolina, actually.
7:30,
Yeah.
ESPN2, number 8, Georgia Tech. On the road at NC State, they are only a 5.5-point favorite. Interestingly enough, the real capital R point spread
Yeah.
is also 5.5. I don't get this line at all, Dan.
Neither do I. It's at night.
I know, but I would think Tech would be favored by closer to 10 against a team like an NC State. You know?
Okay.
So I ran this like 7 times to make sure that I wasn't getting the math wrong. And the computer, anyway, seems to favor what Hollywood Smothers could do in this game.
Right.
On the
Get some
ground
big
for
runs.
NC State.
Yeah.
That seems to be the disparity between the number that I was getting and the number that I would have gotten if not for Hollywood Smothers.
Yeah.
So my initial read was Georgia Tech minus 10. Therefore, I think that is my cue to steer into the number and go NC State plus 5.5.
Oh, so you're okay. You're
I'm
steering
going
into
against.
the
I'm
weird
betting
number.
against myself. Sorry, I'm all over the place. I'm betting against myself here. Give me NC
Okay.
State.
Georgia Tech lock of the week. Now that you've said that,
Okay.
yeah.
Lock of the week.
Now
Fair
that
enough.
you've worked yourself into like a maple twist.
I know.
With your
By
logic.
the way,
Yeah.
by the way,
Sidebar.
why isn't there more talk about NC State opening up?
Ooh. Maybe there should be. I don't know.
I mean, I've heard a little bit here and there, and I don't
It's
think
not
it's a
a-
new thing.
Right.
But like, NC State's a big school. You could
It is.
definitely win there. Dave Doran's had a good run. I
Yeah,
definitely think it's time for a different approach.
They've lost 4 or 5.
And the
Actually,
ACC is
they-
very gettable.
They've lost
It's
4
very gettable.
FBS games in a row. Now, Duke on the road, Notre Dame, Pitt on the road. Those aren't easy games. But the manner in which they lost those games, 36-7 to Notre Dame, 53 points given up by their defense at Pitt to a freshman quarterback. And they're like likely going to lose to Georgia Tech, Miami. We'll see on Florida State. We'll see on UNC. But
It's time, man. It's time for somebody else.
here's the thing, though. Yes, maybe. But, like, do you want to be the 9th best available job?
I mean, no. It's a really, really difficult situation right now if you're a team that hasn't fired its coach yet and you're thinking about it.
Right.
Because everybody's going to have that same logic. Does it really benefit us to be, like you said, the 8th, 9th best job on the board when there's a million other openings out there and it's going to be hyper competitive? We're going to have to pay more for less. I mean,
buddy, his buyout is $15 million. That's not nothing.
I don't know, man. I just think it's time.
So then you're making like a $23 million decision, $25 million decision. I'd
probably more than that if you consider coaching staff.
Yeah. Buyouts for the rest of the staff. Yeah.
Just saying, whether it happens this year or at some point in the future, maybe he just retires. I don't know. But I think it's time to go a different direction. It is
$15 million, though. He's owed a lot of money.
High noon on the ACC network. It is Duke at Clemson. Clemson favored by 3.5. I am on Clemson, Dan. I am on Clemson. I'm back. Like I never left.
They can't breathe.
I think Duke is solid. I think they're also solid at shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
I've got Clemson -4 real point spread. And I think this one ends up being something like 27-23.
Okay. Here's what Clemson has done against competent FBS competition. You ready? Or competent power conference competition.
Go ahead.
They've lost 17-10, lost 24-21, lost 34-21. That team is now bad without their quarterback in Syracuse.
Yep.
Lost 35-24 to SMU, though they have beaten North Carolina and Boston College. If we are considering Duke to be competent power conference competition, they don't win these games. I'm going Duke here.
High noon on Fox. Penn State at #1 Ohio State. Ohio State favored by 20.5 points.
Well, isn't it so weird that we are like over an hour into this episode before talking about this game?
Dude, this was going to be the game this week.
Yeah.
We were talking about this game back in July, man. This was like everything was going to hinge on this for James Franklin, for the Big Ten season. This game's basically an afterthought at this point, which is crazy. Yeah. Absolutely crazy. 20.5 points is your point spread in favor of the Buckeyes. I'm going to go Penn State plus the points.
All right. Talk me up.
Not because I think they're going to do much on offense, but I still think the Penn State defense is pretty good. I think they're going to be a step up from what Ohio State's been playing lately. I still think Ohio State's going to win, but I just think the defense on the Penn State side will offer enough resistance that they're not going to cover 20.5. So I say something like 31-13, something like that.
All right, so the counterpoint is UCLA scored 42 against Penn State.
I know.
Now, maybe that's situational. It's a letdown game after the Oregon game, traveling cross country. Iowa scored 25. So if Iowa's scoring 25, was that all offense? I don't remember the exact manner in which Iowa scored their 25. Do they have any pick sixes or scoop and scores?
No.
The Iowa offense, the offense scored 25 points. So if Iowa's scoring 25, and the Iowa offense is not horrible this year, it's fine. Ohio State should score how many? 44? 38? Something like that? Even if the Penn State defense is up for the challenge, I don't think the offense is going to do them any favors. So I can't in good conscience feel good about Penn State here. You got to have a reason why a team can keep it reasonably close with a 20.5 point spread, and I don't have that reason.
My reason is defense.
I know, but I'm just not a believer in that defense. That's not my reason. So I think I'm just gonna. Man, they've been competitive. They were competitive against UCLA and Northwestern and Iowa. They were right there in all of those games and in the Oregon game.
Yeah.
So are they just good enough to throw a good amount of fight, but not good enough to actually pose a major threat?
This would be the year that they would beat Ohio State, by the way.
Ohio State can't really run the ball in the way that you would expect. You know, it's all relative. The Ohio State bar for running the football. That's not what they do this year. Incredible defense. Like, how many points could Penn State score if they were decent? Like the most decent version of themselves, or the most pretty good version of themselves. I don't know what that is.
This week?
This week. Ethan Grunkemeyer, Penn State. They game plan well. The running backs are playing strong.
17.
Okay. So if you feel like they were in a decent rhythm, they can score 17 against Ohio State. I don't think it's that high. I just don't think it's that high a number. So I have 35-13, barely covering.
Okay. Well, the good news for Matt Rule, by the way, is that no Ohio State, no Oregon on the schedule next year for Penn State, in case he's looking ahead. So
has your estimation of Matt Rule, and I'm quoting here, definitely is the way you phrased it.
Yeah.
Has that wavered at all? Like,
No.
if it were 100% definitely, is it 88% definitely?
No.
88% chance.
No.
You have not wavered in your, if Nebraska loses by 35 to USC, that doesn't change
matter.
anything.
It doesn't matter.
You think the unbreakable bond between Penn State Athletic Director Pat Kraft and Matt Rule cannot be shaken merely by Matt Rule's Nebraska team looking underwhelming?
Here's what I'll say. I have heard other candidates that are supposedly in the running. The candidate du jour this week was Brian Hartline, whose name
I saw that. Yeah.
which I would be interested in. I'd be interested in, frankly, anybody other than Matt Rule.
Yeah,
I'm not
keep it off.
advocating for Matt Rule.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I still think it's going to be Matt Rule. I do. And especially with the way that this coaching carousel has gone, where there are other high-profile jobs, where it definitely seems like there is a premium on staying put if you've got something good. I don't know. Like, I like some of the names I've heard. I still think they're going to come back to Matt Rule. I just do.
Do you
If
think
I'm wrong, I would be happy to be wrong. But
does Terry Pagula want Matt Rule?
I don't know who Terry Pagula wants.
Well, I think that's kind of important, right?
I have no idea who Terry Pagula wants.
I don't know what
But it
the
wouldn't
other big
surprise
names
me.
are, but I mean, does that name have the support behind the scenes, as far as you know?
Matt Rule? Yes.
Yeah.
More support than you would think.
Well, no, I would think there would be support just because Penn Staters love themselves some Penn Staters. Okay.
That's what I heard. I don't know. Take that for whatever it's worth. 12 o'clock on ESPN2. Navy at North Texas, Dan.
Buddy, this is a really fun game.
How about this one? So, North Texas is favored by 6.5 points.
Yeah.
Ty's real point spread is North Texas -10.
Yeah.
I feel like I have seen this play about 1,000 times before, though.
Okay.
And it's where Navy goes up against a team that plays with pace, that likes to throw it, seemingly would be able to score a lot of points on Navy, and then Navy just grinds them the hell down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they get like 42 minutes of possession. They just beat their brains in on the ground.
Yeah.
I do like North Texas a lot this year. And Drew Mestemaker has been money.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stick with my computer, and I'm going to take the Mean Green to win by 10. I have almost no confidence in this pick. So if you are, for whatever reason, if you're in a trance and you decide you want to go with Ty's picks, don't go with this one. I don't trust this one at all, but I'm going to stick with North Texas and the Mean Green.
I'm going to take the points here. I think it's going to be a shootout. Obviously, North Texas already has experience against, the option and the service academy this year against Army, and it's not a good Army team this year, and they scored 38 on North Texas in a back-and-forth game. I think we have a shootout on our hands. I think North Texas wins, but Navy makes this super interesting. 44-41, likely North Texas, but if it were on a neutral side, I think I would like Navy. And this is another big opportunity, another big audition for Drew Mestemaker for, I don't know, Wisconsin, Oregon. Take your pick. Somebody's going to pay him.
Don't go to Wisconsin.
Well, we'll
that.
see who's running the offense and, whatever. But maybe not Wisconsin. But, to be the new Texas quarterback, the new whoever next season, because Duke can sling it.
And our final game before we call out some under-the-radar games and bring this bad boy home.
Yeah.
1 p.m. on TNT. Arizona State at Iowa State, Dan.
Yeah.
Speaking of games that are weirdly afterthoughts, before the year, this one looked like a monster matchup.
Rematch.
I remember going through the schedule and looking at the first week in November, and it's like, wow, we got Penn State, Ohio State, we got Florida, Georgia, we've got Arizona State, Iowa State, all these games, all these big matchups. These are three lost teams, man. And we got Sam Levitt, who's going to be out. We got Jordan Tyson, who seems, hit or miss. I don't know. He was playing on one leg last game. So if we got a Jeff Sims game on our hands, for me, this is like an auto pick for Iowa State. I just can't go Jeff Sims. I can't. Speaking of seeing these plays before.
Yeah.
I can't go Jeff Sims. I can't.
Yeah, by the way, we get a lot of emails about people making their case for their team's fan base being the most tortured fan base.
Yeah, because I want to do a segment on that. Maybe on Tuesday. If you've got a fan base that's tortured, solidverbal@gmail.com. We'll give you a shout out on Tuesday.
Oh man, Mississippi State is up there. There's a lot of contenders here. Auburn, at least Auburn, who'd they beat? Arkansas last week, scored 30 plus, so they have that going for them. I'm with you with this. I think a lot of quarterbacks will be able to take advantage of a really beat up, disappointing Iowa State secondary, but I don't think that is this iteration without Sam Levitt for ASU. So I'm going to go with Iowa State to cover here. They're a pretty flawed team this year, but I think they can win this game. But they showed a lot early against BYU.
They did.
BYU is just able to, even without LJ Martin. I mean, we didn't talk about last week's games in that much detail because you did it solo, because I was just demolishing a dance floor at the moment.
Of course, yeah.
Just upper body. I was just upper body. I wasn't doing much. That was super impressive by BYU. Iowa State is a good team for a certain amount of time. I'm going to go with Iowa State here.
Yeah, I mean, ASU is going to need like 220 yards from Rayleigh Brown.
They're also beat up on their defense. It's just not a good situation.
I know. Iowa State wins this one comfortably. I think it's like 33-21.
Okay.
Somewhere in that range. Some under-the-radar games, Dan, that I don't want people to lose track of these. Boop. 3 p.m. on the C-Dub. It is
Did you say
Louisville?
C-Dub?
I almost said Z-Dub. I didn't mean that.
Okay.
C-Dub. Number 16, Louisville, a 10.5 point road favorite at Virginia Tech. Dan?
That's a lot of points.
For those wondering what Dan Rubenstein messaged Ty Hildenbrand at 7:03 a.m. Eastern Time this morning, quote, apparently Virginia Tech and James Franklin are making out in a corner booth, end quote.
Oh, yeah. I was wondering where you're going with that.
Seems to be a lot of smoke on Coach James Franklin taking the gig down in Blacksburg. I've not heard anything to that end, but it would not surprise me.
Right.
I would be stunned if he did not let the market play out a little bit more because he's a Jimmy Sexton client. However, if he does have some revenge on the brain, there would be no greater way to get revenge than to go to Virginia Tech and take all Penn State's recruits in the Mid-Atlantic.
Yeah.
So we will see. I think it'd be a great hire for Virginia Tech if they were able to pull this one off. But
agree.
As we are doing this show, there's like my phone's lighting up with people sending messages in about this. So whether or not it comes to fruition remains to be seen, but definitely a lot of steam right now on Franklin taking that gig.
Virginia Tech with a nice win against Cal. Louisville, obviously coming off of, I don't know, they gave up too many points perhaps to Boston College. I don't know the rhythm of that game, but the win against Miami a couple weeks ago was obviously crazy impressive. I think Louisville covers this. I'm hopeful that Virginia Tech has turned some sort of corner offensively against Cal, but I think Louisville's too good in too many places.
I've got Tech plus the points. And the reason I've got Tech plus the points is not because I think they're winning. It's because Louisville has this weird trend where they're within one score of all the decent teams they play.
Oh, that's true. And if you're considering Virginia Tech decent, that's fine.
And I think they're decent enough. I mean, they've got talent. They've got 5 losses.
Right.
But they do have talent. I'm going to say something like 31-24.
Okay. Virginia Tech had winnable moments that did not go their way, perhaps, against like Wake and I don't even know. South Carolina was definitely a winnable game. They just didn't play special teams. Yeah, okay.
I have 7 other under-the-radar games. Let's get through them quick, okay?
Please, let's go.
345 ESPN2, number 15, Virginia, minus 3.5. On the road in the hinterlands, Dan.
I have Cal here. Virginia's just been playing it too close. Chandler Morris is very good, but seems off. I'm going Cal here to win this one in a weird game because it's early. That's weird for me for Cal.
Yeah, this is Virginia by a touchdown, but close the full way through.
Cal wins by 4. Continue.
7:30 ACC Network, Wake Forest at Florida State.
Yeah.
Florida State favored by 9.5-ish.
Wake Forest outright.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Why?
Do you have a favorite Florida State ACC win this year? Is there one that like jumps out to you? Or like that's the defining ACC win for Florida
The computer
State this
says
year?
Florida State -11.
Yeah, I don't care. I think Wake Forest is better coached. I think they have the better defense, and that's plenty for me. They, won a weird close game against SMU at home. I'm going to take Wake here.
I'm with you on Wake. I'm with you on Wake, by the way. I can't go Florida State here. Come on, Wake Forest is actually playing with some fire. I don't know what Florida State's doing.
Yeah.
Forget it. 4 o'clock, SEC Network, Mississippi State on the road at Arkansas. Arkansas favored by 4.5 points. The computer says Arkansas also favored by 4.5 points. I wanted to highlight this game as an under-the-radar game just because I think it's going to be fun as hell. There might not be a whole lot of stakes on this one. Arkansas has already fired its coach. Certainly Mississippi State is not going to do that with the year that they've had. I think we're going to see a lot of points. And I like Mississippi State plus the number.
I like Mississippi State plus the number. The last time Arkansas won a football game was September 6th this season. Okay?
Great.
The last time they beat a power conference team was 2024. It's just, I don't think they're especially good. I really like the potential of their big play offense, but I think you need to be a complete team. And Mississippi State in a letdown spot after losing the way they did to Texas. But even still, I think they're going to be up for the opportunity. I like Mississippi State.
Right after that on the SEC Network at 7:30, it is Kentucky at Auburn. Auburn favored by 10.5 points. It is a battle of two teams that could be looking for new coaches in 2026.
Sure, maybe, yeah.
I'm going to go Arkansas minus the number. Or
You
excuse
mean
me, what did I say?
Auburn
Arkansas
minus the number?
Auburn minus the number. Auburn's going to win this one by 11 to 14 points.
I agree with you on this one, yes.
7 p.m. FS1, Arizona minus 4.5 on the road at Colorado. The computer says it should be Colorado -1, that the wrong team is favored here.
Yeah, I'm going to go Arizona here. Colorado's been... Okay, Colorado has not been awful, but they have not been good at a lot of things on the football field.
No.
Like, they've had winnable moments and losses. I thought the Iowa State win, even though Iowa State isn't what they've been these past few years, was a good win for Colorado. I just think Arizona specifically plays the pass well. There's speed on this defense, and I think they're going to play well enough offensively. I think they're going to win this game. I think Colorado's ready for the season to end.
7:30 CBS. It is the first of two home and home games. Or I guess the first of a rare in-season home and home.
In season, in month, almost a month, yeah.
Washington State minus 3.5 on the road at Oregon
month.
State. I think Washington State's going to win this one. I don't think much of Oregon State right now.
I really like Zevi Eckhouse. That's how you pronounce it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going Wazoo here. I think they're better.
And last but certainly not least, it is the battle for the victory cannon, Dan. The victory cannon. 4 p.m. ESPNU. It is Central Michigan. It is Western Michigan. Western's favored by 4.5. The winner of the victory cannon will stay in the hunt for the MAC. There is a grouping, as you might expect, of like 4, 5, 6 teams that have a shot at the MAC. Could have a weird tiebreaker situation on our hands again, but give me Western. Let's go Western.
I'm going Western as well at home.
There you have it. That is a long list of games to watch this weekend. If you are going to be out and about, the window for you is late.
Interesting. Okay.
Get in that date night in week 10. Go out to dinner.
Yeah.
Go see Cats again. Go to the
Do you have like a
pumpkin
backup
patch.
show to recommend? Like a backup classic stage performance that you would recommend?
Cats 2. I'd go to Cats 2.
Cats 2. Okay.
I think the window is late. If you got to go out, if you've been building up,
It's not South Pacific, My Fair Lady, Ragtime.
I'm a Cats guy.
All right.
Got 2 dogs, but I'm a Cats guy.
Funny thing happened on the way to the forum.
Is that the name of a show?
Yeah.
No idea.
Yeah.
This isn't my scene.
The
But
Producers.
I did see The Producers a couple weeks
Great.
ago.
Jersey
good.
Boys.
Did not see that. I saw
Okay.
Wicked once. Wicked was good.
Chicago.
Wicked was really good. I went to see Hamilton this summer.
Look at you.
Did you
Man
see
of the
Hamilton?
theater. No, I haven't seen Hamilton.
It was great.
Okay.
Great stuff. Go do all that at night, okay? This is the week where you can go and do this at night because we get a little deeper into the season. Certainly the latter stages of November, this is when we get weird stuff breaking late at night. This is when you're going to want to stay up and watch the live stream, maybe. I know a place where they've got one where they talk about college football stuff at midnight Eastern time on YouTube for free.
Wow.
If you are looking to build a quad, though, if you're going to be in front of the TV.
Now, my question to you is, how bad do you really want legs?
If you want those legs and if you want the optimal quad, the time to do it is early. So technically, you can take advantage of both the window of opportunity and the optimal quad, because in that early block, you've got Vandy, Texas, Penn State, Ohio State, Duke, Clemson, Navy, North Texas, and if you're feeling saucy, you could even go Arizona State, Iowa State. Starts about an hour later because they like to be different.
Right.
But at high noon, you got 4 games. As you go through, you can sub one in. Maybe you can go 5 wide. Don't know if you've got the way to do that with your home setup.
Yeah.
I could probably find a way to make that work. I don't know if you're technologically advanced enough, Dan, but I could do it.
Guru. Yeah.
I could do it. Maybe you can out there as well if that's something that you're into. So the window is late. The quad window is early.
Okay, fair enough. By the way, I also have, just in terms of early stuff, earlier than Saturday, Bill Belichick is going to be inside the JMA Wireless Dome. Bill Belichick and Fran Brown coaching against each other. Both of those teams might be terrible. I don't know. That could be weird on Friday night if you got nothing else going. Also, by the way, under the radar, Saturday on the early slate, UCF Baylor.
Yes.
UCF isn't great. They haven't been closing games. They'll bust some big runs. They'll get after the court. Like, there is something fun about UCF football this year in a transition season. And Baylor's like, week to week kind of a mess defensively. I think there's something fun about just monitoring that if everything else is like at halftime or a commercial. I don't know. UCF Baylor is my under the radar early window game. And my just you have to participate kind of situation is involved with dropping that big, stanky, bouncing, barking drum and fife.
Give me some of that barking, Dan. Here we go. Patriot League's got a couple big games, Dan. 4 to be exact. We start off with the biggest at Murray H. Goodman Stadium. Georgetown 5-3 away from Multisport Field, squaring off against the Lehigh Mountain Hawks, who are 8-0 and number 7. They are number 7 in the latest FCS rankings, Dan. Give me them Mountain Hawks. We're going all the way to the FCS title game.
Wow.
All the way.
Lehigh big.
Fitton Field, 1 p.m. Lafayette, 5-3 on the road at Holy Cross, a dismal 1-7. Holy Cross needs an act of the Holy Father to get a win here against the Yetis, Dan. Give me the Leps minus whatever.
Like Lafayette big. When you're forged from the streets of Easton, PA, Ty,
the
nothing
mean
phases
streets.
you. Nothing
Remember we had a guy
you.
who used to call in Mike from the mean streets of Easton?
I do remember that, yeah.
Crown Field at Andy Kerr Stadium hosting a big affair between 2 mighty 3-5 teams, it says here.
Ooh.
1 p.m. Eastern. Get your tickets now. Merrimack on the road at Colgate, Dan. I believe Merrimack was the name of a ship. Colgate's definitely the name of a toothpaste. Where are we going?
I'm going Merrimack on the road here. Why not? What is the Monitor in the Merrimack from the Civil War?
Yeah, I believe so.
I did a report. Civil War, like 7th grade, we had to do a U.S. history paper on any aspect of the Civil War. And I chose the naval battle, the Monitor versus the Merrimack.
If I asked you to do this for me for next episode, could you reproduce that report?
I don't think I could reproduce the report, but if you were like, give me a synopsis of the value of that battle, of the naval element of the Civil War, I could prepare that, sure.
All right. Thursday's episode, we're talking humanoid robots and just a little bit of raw Merrimack trivia. Okay.
Okay. Are you talking about the school Merrimack or the actual Monitor versus the Merrimack?
Oh, I don't care about the
Civil War?
school. I'm talking about the ship.
Oh, okay.
And last but not least, at E. Claiborne Robbins Stadium in beautiful Richmond, Virginia, the Spiders at 4-4 are playing host to Fordham at 1-7. It's not been a good year for Fordham, Dan.
I'm going Spidey here.
Yeah. Getting that
By the
Spidey
way,
sense here.
On the topic, Ty, it's Harvard Dartmouth week in the Ivy. It's a big matchup.
We don't have an Ivy League sound, do we?
We don't have an Ivy sound. I just know that they're building. towards their first season in the FCS playoffs as an eligible at-large team. Kids talk about aura. Harvard has Andy Orick. I don't know. He's their head coach. He's done a good job for Harvard.
All right. Well, thank you to one and all for downloading, for listening, for supporting. By the way, if you are interested in Run the Board this week, our Pick'em game, you'll be playing for a $150 gift card to Dick's Sporting Goods.
Ooh. Ty, come on. We're talking about holidays coming up. Maybe you want to get your missus a soccer ball or a
real romantic Dan Rubenstein.
A Tyler Hero jersey?
Yeah, that's the good stuff right there.
If you had to get Kate anything with $150 to Dick's Sporting Goods.
Oh, my God.
What do you think she'd be like? I can't believe how thoughtful this was.
At Dick's Sporting Goods?
At Dick's Sporting Goods. A rifle. Running shoes.
Yeah. You've met Kate. I don't think she's much for rifles.
Okay. Running shoes, running gear. She is a runner. She did run in high school. Is there any like
honestly, the answer is like $150 worth of warm socks. It's probably
warm socks. So not like matching VJ Edgecombe dog jerseys.
No.
For the okay.
No. Anything that requires me to pick colors is instantly out of the equation because I can't, me with color. Can't see what I'm looking at. So
Merry Christmas, Kate. Here are 15 pairs of warm socks. Listen,
laugh.
I think it's a great gift.
You
I think
laugh,
it's great.
but we're in our 40s now, and that's a great gift. Okay? I would take that. I'd be very pleased with a 15-pack. I don't know if they make that, but
I think it's a great gift. But somebody has to be there to appreciate it. Yeah.
Run the Board is available to everybody by going out to verballers.com. You sign up for the certified or the premium tier. The game is active already for those of you who are listening to this and are already signed up, but certified and premium Verballers get access to the game. You're eligible for all the prizes. This week, again, you're playing for the Dick's Sporting Good card. We're going to have a few other weeks of action here. We're going to go all the way through Conference Championship Week. And then as we get into bowl season, we're going to revive the bowl game from a year ago. Bring that guy back as well. So there've been a lot of games available to the Verballerhood. If you sign up at verballers.com, you also can vote in the poll. Sunday morning, 7 a.m. it goes live. You can vote in the Verballer Top 12 poll. Get out ahead of things.
You have to. You have to. We need
Dan Rubenstein.
Yes, sir.
A pleasure as always.
I know I'm supposed to cut something, but what?
But what?
And where?
And where?
Hope you enjoy your Scalpel Saturday.
Thank you.
Call and rip them apart. Please join in on Saturday night as we do our live stream. Hope to see you there. Hope to see you chatting it up. If not, as always, hit follow, hit subscribe, leave a star rating or a review wherever you can. Tell your friends about the Solid Verbal. For that guy over there, my good friend Dan Rubenstein, for myself, Ty Hillenbrand. Thank you, as always, for hanging with us here. We'll catch you all soon. Stay solid.
Peace.